Most people totally ignore the fact that they are literally 2 seconds away from losing everything. And when I say everything, I don't mean necessarily your house and your family and everything, but all of the work that we do that lives on our computer could literally be lost in 2 seconds because hard drives crash. They're designed to prevent crashes, but they're also designed to crash because that's what they do. While we're on that same subject, SSDs crash. So SSDs are the chip-based versions of hard drives that are so much faster, but they crash. Online storage crashes. In fact, let me just tell you a quick story. My biggest program was on Microsoft's OneDrive because that way I could work on it at home. I could work on my laptop. I could immediately transfer files and everything else like that. And one day, a few months after working on it last, I came to it and the entire folder was empty. It was entirely gone. All those hours and days and weeks of work was totally gone. I freaked out. I called Microsoft. What happened? We don't know. It's just not there. Well, fortunately, I had done what I'm going to show you right here and was able to get it back. But don't trust that your stuff, because it's on Dropbox or on Google or on Microsoft services, all of those crash. And just think about this for just a moment. In these days where we've got countries warring with each other and realize one of those two countries is the single biggest source of hacking in the world. Well, maybe China is, but you know what? China could become involved in this in the meantime too. If they ever wanted to try to get back to the United States, what would be a good thing for them to do? Go crash everybody's backup systems. You don't think that's on their list of strategic tactics that they're going to do at some point in the future? I guarantee you that is there. There are people who have figured out how to crash it, who are ready to crash it, just waiting for someone to say, we're going to use the nuclear system of crashing all the hard drives in the world, of crashing all the online storage in the world. So it all comes down to this. Never risk your hard work to one single crash. I strongly believe that everything you do should be in at least 3 locations. So it should be on your hard drive on your computer. In addition to that, it should be on a hard drive next to your computer. This is where you buy the portable backup drives. Okay, those are great because if your hard drive ever crashes, it's right there and you can simply transfer it back onto the new drive. Now you're probably going to have to order a new drive, so you're going to be down for 2 days while you wait for it to arrive, or hopefully you've still got a Best Buy somewhere close so you can go buy one. But you know what? You're going to be down when that hard drive crashes, unless the other option is to do this. Buy a hard drive and keep it in reserve in your office. So just in case your hard drive dies, you've always got a blank one just sitting there. Okay, next principle. So you've got it on your hard drive. You've got it on an external drive next to your hard drive. The next thing you do is you buy an online backup service. So one of the many different services that are out there, literally for $5 a month, you can back up all of your data. Why would you not do this? And by the way, there are some of those that give you the ability to, if anything ever crashes and you don't happen to have the external hard drive sitting next to your computer, you can send them like $119. They put all your data on a hard drive, overnight it to you. You take that hard drive, reload a new hard drive, and send it back to them, and then they refund you most of that money. So you don't have to wait 3 months for everything to download back onto your computer. By all means, go for those options. If you ever need it, that option will be priceless to you. Okay, so we've got our hard drive, we've got our external hard drive sitting next to it, we've got an online backup service, and then we want to have some kind of a synced service that's syncing our files, like Microsoft's OneDrive. You can do the same thing with a Google Drive. You can do the same thing with a number of different drives out there. And I'm talking from a PC perspective, but Apple's got their cloud service that does all that too. Okay. Now, that's the principle. If you count carefully, I just gave you everything lives in 4 places. I strongly recommend that, not just 3. But some people will take out the synced service and just have those 3 services. But by all means, do that. Okay. Next thing. This is something that almost no one ever does, but I got to tell you, it's worth it. Buy a new hard drive every year. So every year, late December, early January, I just buy a new hard drive, take everything that was on my old hard drive, back it up onto my new hard drive, and then my old hard drive goes into my backup storage, just in case. So then I'm never more than 12 months away from data, but at least but that way I'm always working on new hard drive, because hard drives die after a certain number of hits to them. That's the principle of data backup, is that the mechanics or the SSD part gets a certain number of writes before they die. And so you remove that write number by getting a new one. Okay, so you're buying a new one and just backing up the stuff on it. Yeah, it's going to cost you a couple of $100 a year. Can you imagine? A couple of $100? Isn't that worth the 2 or 3 days of frustration it's going to take to reload everything? By all means, do this. And next rule, the disk that contains your operating system, so Windows or iOS, and the one that contains your program, which is usually the same disk, and I recommend it be an SSD drive that you put your operating system and all your programs on, but that disk never contains your data. What you do is you separate the disk that contains your operating system and your programs on it from the disk that contains your data. What that means is if this one ever crashes because it's got all your programs and that's where most of the work's being done, then this one down here still remains whole, undamaged whatsoever. And if you ever get a virus or something like that takes out your operating system, all you have to do is redo that disk with your operating system and your programs, and your data's down here safe from it. Now, sometimes some viruses will penetrate and get down in there, but this way, most of it is safe and are protected. And most of those hits, when I talked about hits hitting a hard drive, they're not hitting your data drive. They're hitting your operating system drive. Okay? I guarantee you, I'm going to give you a hard, fast guarantee. A crash is going to happen to you. At some point, just like death and taxes, it's guaranteed you're going to have a hard drive crash on you. The question is, when? The bigger question is, will you be prepared? By the way, I'm going to throw out one more thing. If you live on a laptop instead of a desktop, you significantly increase the probability of hard drive crash. Why? Because it's getting jostled around all the time. That's what causes mechanical failure. So there's a reason why I work on a desktop, not a laptop. The laptop's the thing I do when I travel, the thing I do when I want to get away from the desk, those kinds of things. But I live with my data protected on a desktop. It gives me all the options that you can't get any other way. We'll talk more about that some other time. All right, so that's how you keep yourself from losing everything in 2 seconds or less. What's your backup system look like? Have you got one? Have you tested it? Do you know it actually works? May I suggest you do that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.